Today, join us in this exciting narrative, the hidden history of Saint Joseph, the adoptive father who changed the world. Silence that shines brighter than 1,000 voices. Saint Joseph lived hidden from the world, but his life illuminated the history of humanity. In his simple daily life, we find the greatness that heaven chose. Quiet dedication, love that does not seek applause, courage that does not need to be seen. He shows us that the greatest secret of love is to remain faithful, even when no one recognizes it, even when the pain seems overwhelming. How many times have you had to act in silence? How many times have you carried burdens that no one noticed, protecting, caring, supporting, without ever hearing a thank you? Saint Joseph reminds us that it is in this hidden place that true love flourishes, in the little things, in the invisible gestures, and the dedication that sustains families, faith, and hope. Following Joseph's story is not just remembering the past, it's opening our hearts to a journey that renews the soul. He inspires us not to give up in the face of fear, to trust even when everything seems to be falling apart, to obey when the divine call seems impossible. The Bible doesn't tell us how Joseph left this world, but think with me. The heart of a father who saw the boy he rocked in his arms, the young man he taught to work with wood, condemned to the cross, how much must it have hurt? Each hammer blow on Calvary would echo like a blow to his chest. Each drop of blood shed would remind him of silent nights in Nazareth when he watched over his son's sleep. Joseph was not at Calvary. He did not cry, he didn't run, he could not hold those nailed hands. His love was silent until the end. And in that silence lies the mystery that few dare to speak of, the pain of a father who would have given anything to spare his son. This hidden pain teaches us, because Joseph lived, loved, and suffered in silence. He kept tears that never fell, cries that never echoed, and it is precisely in the silence that his love shows itself to be even greater. It was not absence that erased his devotion, it was silence that made it eternal.
Today, as we remember Joseph, we are invited to feel with him that invisible pain, the pain of losing without being able to hold on, of loving without being able to console, of trusting in God when everything seems to be falling apart. And in this mystery, he reminds us that true love does not die. It blossoms in the hope of resurrection. What can adoptive parents learn from Saint Joseph? First of all, we must look at the life of this man who, without having begotten Jesus in Mary's womb, chose to beget him in his heart. Joseph shows us that being a father goes far beyond blood. True fatherhood is a decision, a commitment, a silent presence, and a love that asks for no reward. He did not have to take on that responsibility. He could have gone on with his life, protected his honor, chosen the easy way out. But when the angel said to him in a dream, "Do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife," Joseph decided to love without reservation. This is the first lesson for every adoptive father. Love is not born of chance, but of choice. Choosing to love is greater than any biological bond. Joseph also teaches us that fatherhood is protection. He knew that the boy's life was in danger. Herod was persecuting him, and yet he put himself on the front line, guiding his family on nighttime escapes, supporting them in foreign lands, carrying the responsibility of keeping the Son of God safe. What a lesson for adoptive parents. Protecting is not only preventing physical harm, but also providing a safe home where the child knows they can rest without fear. Another powerful detail. Joseph taught Jesus with his own hands. He not only gave him a roof over his head, but also passed on values to him. He showed discipline in carpentry, humility at work, tenderness in living together. It was in the workshops of Nazareth that the boy learned about effort, patience, and dignity. For every adoptive parent, here is a secret. You don't need to give big speeches. Your silent example is worth 1,000 words. It is in the routine, in the care of each day, that a child's heart is molded. But perhaps the most profound lesson lies in the courage to love without guarantees. Joseph had no answers. He did not know what the future would bring. He lived the unknown at every step, and yet he did not back down. Many adoptive parents face fears. Will I be accepted? Will I be able to handle it? Will this love be enough? Joseph shows that love does not need certainties to be true. It is enough to be present. It is enough to decide to love, even when doubts scream.
And then there is Joseph's silence. He left no recorded words, but his entire life was a silent sermon. This teaches us that being a father is not about talking a lot, but about living consistently. Love does not need to be visible to be real. Adoptive parents, often invisible to the eyes of the world, find comfort in this story. God sees the love that no one else sees. Heaven witnesses every silent gesture, every hidden tear, every night of worry. In the end, Joseph was not at Calvary. He did not see his son's hands being nailed to the cross. He left before that. But his legacy remained in Jesus, a man who knew from childhood what it means to be loved, cared for, and protected. This shows that the mission of an adoptive father is not to be remembered for great deeds, but for having left deep marks on his son's heart. And here is the great truth that Saint Joseph offers to adoptive parents. You don't have to be at the beginning of a child's life to be the foundation of their story. You don't have to share blood to share destiny. To be an adoptive parent is to enter into a divine calling, to accept being God's instrument to write a new story of love. Joseph's example echoes today as an invitation. Choose to love even when no one understands. Protect even when the world does not recognize it. Educate even in silence. And trust even without seeing the future. Because being an adoptive parent is living the essence of fatherhood. Chosen love, offered love, love that saves. This is the legacy that Saint Joseph leaves us, a silent but eternal love that continues to illuminate the world through parents who, with courage and faith, say every day, I choose to love you. This is the lesson that spans the centuries. Even in the silence of absence, Joseph's heart was present. He suffered as a father. He believed as a saint. Let this silent strength touch your heart today. Allow the discreet light of Saint Joseph to envelop your life, transform your tears into faith, and renew your courage. And don't keep it to yourself. Share this message. Save it to listen to on days of pain, and sign up so that we can spread this love that makes no noise but wins every battle. Saint Joseph teaches us, it is in silence that miracles are born that never die. Under the blessings of Saint Joseph, until our next meeting.